Just started in Midtown Dentistry. Want to know what your next steps to success are? Well, this presentation, labeled From Zero to Hero the Midtown Dentistry Way, will show you some of the points that we think can really improve your career. We talked about your career lasting a lifetime, but really starting with 3 years of experience in a successful dental office. Whether you are right out of school or a very mature and experienced dentist, we find that people have things that are their blind side, things that they don't know yet. And I want to tell you what you need to learn next in the next few years to achieve the success that you deserve. The first important thing is to understand that there are really 6 points that we have found that make the difference between a very successful dentist and one that is not so. These 6 are lined up here, and you will find that clinical skills are only the 4th out of the list. Interestingly enough, when asking a dentist, the first thing they tell you they need more of and they need to learn more is clinical skills, and that is absolutely not true. Clinical skills are very important, but they are only the 4th in a line of skills that you need to learn. Let's start with personal growth as being the first one. The major one is growing as a human being to be able to change and improve oneself. Advanced interpersonal skills is important because we are dealing with human beings on a daily basis, and having skills in dealing with other people is probably the second most important. Improving your presentation and sales skills is number 3, because all day long you are presenting and selling again and again. And if you're not able to do that, if you're a great dentist that can make the best prosthesis, but you haven't had anybody say yes and open their mouth, well, obviously your clinical skills are useless unless you're a professor at the university. Time management is very important because we do see dentists that are able to sell crowns all day, and they're able to make one a day. They could just prep 1 tooth a day. Well, they're not going to get far in life. They also cannot manage their time in the clinic, and they become a slave to their job and unable to find time to have a life. Advanced management skills is the last here because it means that you have already championed all the other parts of your studies, but it also is very important. Let me break everything down for you, and we'll break it down. What does each mean and how can you learn it? The first one is personal growth. Most important, regardless of what profession you're in or what career path you've chosen, is to really know who you are. Without knowing who you are and where do you want to go in life, you cannot achieve anything. This is the roadmap of I'm such and such a person. This is what I want to do with my life. When my life is over, this is what I want to be remembered for. This is what my legacy should look like. This is my plan for the next part of my life. What matters to me in my life and my career is ABC. This is what drives me. This is what my purpose is. If you don't know what your purpose is on this earth, how could you say where you want to go, and how can you put that in context of dentistry? We've seen so many dentists that say, I absolutely hate what I do. I was made to do it by my parents. I couldn't get accepted into opera school. My passion is opera. When I die, I want to be remembered for singing the famous aria on the steps of the Verona Theater. Well, if that is your purpose and that is where you want to go in life, obviously your career is impacted by that, and you shouldn't be surprised that you are not a successful dentist or successful hygienist or successful dental assistant. So it's very important to dwell and think on what matters to you, Does it matter to you if you are financially very successful or not? We've found fantastic dentists. They like to give back to society. They go and open a free dental clinic for the impoverished. They may do it in this country or another country. That is part of the purpose of their life. And so a private practice, a fee-for-service model, is not the right model for them. Another option is somebody who loves concierge dentistry. They only want to see 2 or 3 patients a day, and they want to give them 100%. They want to be available for their clientele 24 hours a day. So concierge dentistry is where they need to be. To find out all these things, you have to go on a route of learning different ideas on how to express personal growth. Once you have the lingo and you understand what you're looking for and how you can measure it, it'll be much easier for you to define who you are. I would start with the giants of the 1930s and 40s, Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, and Norman Peale. All of these people started when careers and career choice were suddenly possible for people, and people were confused about where their life was leading them. They will use a little antiquated English, but the ideas are still strong and amazing and are really the basic of what I'm talking about. TED Talks will give you the more up-to-date ideas of what personal growth and who you all are. And of course, I would add anything you can read or listen by Tony Robbins, such as Awaken the Giant, a great book to motivate you and move you forward and show you that yes, you can find who you are and what your passion in life is. For me, my passion obviously is dentistry and Midtown dentistry. Advanced Interpersonal Skills really talks about how you present yourself to the world. What does the world see when they see you? How do you interact with other people? Day to day, we interact with so many people, whether they are family, colleagues, clients, or just people we meet. And how we interact with them really has 10 different points that you need to master. And each one of them is very time-consuming to learn and very difficult to master. The first one is verbal communication, what I say. The second is non-verbal communication, my body language, how I say things. The third, and the most difficult for dentists, I find, is listening. The fourth is questioning, manners, problem solving. How do I solve problems as they arise with my other people that I interact with? Social awareness, being aware of my social environment at the time, whether I'm at a cocktail party, in a dental office, or in a different ethnic group where the social rules are different. Self-management, again, is very difficult for some people, and that is how to manage one's behavior around people, and it leads to responsibility and accountability. How can I find myself to be accountable for things? And assertiveness. Assertiveness is being able to express oneself and being able to present oneself forcefully but not aggressively. Presentation and sales skills basically mean how do you sell dentistry. You need to learn how to deal with rejection. Anytime you try and sell, there can be a yes or a no, and you need to know how to deal with both. And the most important for me is how to enjoy the process. If you cannot learn to enjoy the process of selling, you will never be good at it. You have to enjoy it, see it as a challenge, see it as a competition, see it as a fun basketball game against another home team, another neighborhood team. It is a friendly, and rejection is okay. Rejection is part of it, but it is a game, and there is a score to be kept. So many of our dentists see sales versus education as something that's filthy or dirty or just unspoken or not ethical or just not right for a professional. All that, of course, is hogwash and poppycock, and really sales and education go hand in hand. As you educate somebody, they also want to buy. You have to believe in yourself and in your product. In our world, it's dentistry, whether it's cosmetic dentistry or something that a person needs, and we can offer them to improve their life. In order to be able to do all that, you need to learn the psychology of selling. What goes on in a person's mind when you are either selling or buying anything. And you need to learn to give a perfect sales pitch. In dentistry, our treatment planning or presentation or the sales pitch, and you need to know how to do it again and again in a repeatable, successful manner and actually enjoy that process. The hardest part for dentists is actually closing. Closing means closing the sale, not just talking about it, not just educating, but turning the potential client into a client that is going to pay and get things done. And another art in sales skills is utilizing your staff. No, you do not need to do the whole process by yourself every single time. We have a very successful team of people that can help you do it much better. May I suggest that continuing education for sales skills starts by watching several videos, reading anything by Brian Tracy, but especially The Psychology of Selling, reading Making It Easy for Patients to Say Yes, a textbook by Paul Homily that is really a seminal piece for dentistry and how to sell, and reading The Dentist's Unfair Advantage, which is a new version of guides on how to sell dentistry. I would also take an online or in-person dental sales class. Several are available, and those will only be useful to you after you have been selling and working with a mentor such as myself for a while. Good classes are by Ladder or Paul Homily. And of course, sales, like anything else, is practice. You have to practice again and again and again. Going to advanced clinical skills, what's important in clinical skills is not just the how-to. What instrument do I use and how do I move my hands? But it is so important to learn the 4 things that you need to do when you perform a dental treatment. It has to be at an acceptable level. That means that it not just reaches a legal level, but that it has to have an acceptable level to you, the operator. The point here is that we are not looking for perfection. We are looking for acceptable. You have to be able to do it efficiently and within a set time. Where that means that you can have a crown done to perfection if you work on it for a day or 2, but it is not efficient and it is not within a set of time, and you need to know what time you need to expect to be able to do a procedure. That also comes down to profitability. It has to be profitable. Whatever you are charging for something doesn't mean that it's profitable. If you charge $10,000 for a crown, but it takes you 3 days to do it, you are not profitable. So efficiency, acceptability, and profitability actually go hand in hand. If you do 1 crown for $1,000 in an hour, or if you do 2 crowns for $500, you may be more profitable doing 2 at $500 or at $600. And as important is to have reduced or no stress. If you're doing 1 procedure that stresses you out and you are sweaty and feeling bad the rest of the day, you may not be doing the rest of the dentistry at an acceptable level. You may not be efficient and you may not be profitable. So it's very important to be able to manage stress and have hardly any of it throughout the day. Part of the clinical skills is also management, really, but a clinical skill of managing your staff and your external teams to multiply your clinical skills. An example of that is having staff make your provisionals for you so that you are able to do 3 provisionals at the same time. or having staff take impressions of opposing arches. If they could do that in 3 rooms and they could take the photos and the x-rays for you, well, you've advanced your clinical skill and you're more efficient and more profitable. A difficult part for many doctors is learning how to set clinical goals. Your clinical goals, as you improve at this, need to continue to improve. If you're at the point where you're able to manage only 1 operatory per day, you now need to learn to set a clinical goal of managing 2 operatories at the same time, or managing 3 operatories at the same time. If you're able to do 1 root canal a day, you can manage it to 2 root canals a day, and you can measure the progress of how you're doing. How many times do you have to take x-rays for a root canal versus what you needed to do a year or 2 ago? So measuring progress is very important in this. And for continuing education clinically, first start with memberships at Dental XP and Guide Dental. Both are websites that have thousands of clinical lectures and allow you to, at a quiet of your home or after the operatories are empty, to improve your clinical skills subject by subject. I would take a class called The Art of Treatment Planning, and I would take classes at the Coy Center. I want to stop and talk about that. The Coy Center is in Seattle, Washington, and these are very costly classes. And I would tell you that I believe that right now in 2014, this is the best dental education available for any dentist, whether they be young or seasoned. Courses 1 and 2 are essential courses. They deal with occlusion and with treatment planning, and I believe that they are the best bang for the buck of any dental education available at all. Courses 4 and 5 are important because they give you a lot of clinical skills in fixed and removable and implant prosthodontics that you can receive if you take a 3 or 4 year prosthodontic residency, but they're all compacted into 3 days, which is absolutely incredible. While again costly and far, these are by far the best dental courses you could take. There are other multiple venues for hands-on training. There are things that are hard to get trained in even at Midtown Dentistry, such as implant surgery, bone grafting, and these are better done first off on a hands-on training at a hands-on facility such as IDEA in San Francisco, the Mish Institute, and the Alabama Implant Education Institute. And again, clinical skills are all about practicing. The more you practice with a mentor, the better your results will be. At Midtown Dentistry, we have mentors. Use them and continue to improve. You can do so much better on time management if you learn what is time management, what tools can you use to improve your management, how to perform most dental treatments efficiently within a set time, but more importantly, how to manage your work time around your goals. What do you want to achieve, and how can you manage the few hours you have every day of working around these goals? Goals are very important. Your life's goals are important, and you need to learn how to manage your life. Whether it's the cross of juggling your family and your friends, your religion and your work, your charity giving and your hobbies, your exercise versus your time around a dental chair or mentoring other people. So managing time management is really managing your life cycle, and you have to be able to measure progress in time management. No, this is not going to happen in one day, and it's not going to happen just because you read a book or listen to a lecture. You really have to measure yourself continuously and improve and get results. And like anything else in time management, you can fall off the wagon and get back on it multiple times in your lifetime. I would suggest Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. it's a seminal book that will really get you into the thought process of time management as something that you can learn. The 7 habits are, again, very important to understand. On the other flip side of it is a fun book called The 4-Hour Work Week. It's really funny because it tells you that you can really only work 4 hours a week. Well, no, you really can't. But the thought process here is, how do I take things and manage them better? What can I send out, or what can I have other people do with me or help me with so that I become more effective? How do I outsource things in my life so that my work and life balance are correct? And then I would take an online class. There's multiples such as Learn Time Management, Getting Organized. These are wonderful classes. But most importantly, practicing time management, thinking about it, saying, what am I doing this week with my time, is very important. And I kept saying management the whole time. This is the last part, and that's learning management. Management starts as an associate or a dentist with managing your dental team. It could be your small team that works with you, your dental assistant and your treatment coordinator. It could become a bigger team if you now have 2 operatories and you've got 2 associates, 2 assistants that are helping you, and a hygienist. And it could become a whole dental office which might have up to 10 or 15 employees in your dental team. You also have to learn to manage your external teams. These are people such as your labs, your referrals, your referring doctors, the ones that refer to you and the ones you refer to. It could be salespeople and support staff from different walks of life. And important in management, as in everything else that I stressed, is setting yourself goals. Seeing where you are today and where you want to go to, and measure that progress. Anything that is not measured basically hasn't been done, and you will never progress in. If you are not measuring it and checking, you will never get the results you want. So measurement and being really introspective on that is very important. Management skills can be learned, and you do not need to take an MBA. I'd start with the 1-Minute Manager and the First Time Manager. Great quick books, probably 30 minutes each to read, which gives you an idea of what a great manager can do even if they don't have an MBA. There's several rules and several talks by TED on how to be a great leader. Management is also about leading other groups of people, and it's important to learn that. And then I would read anything by Patrick Lencioni. His best book for beginners would be The Advantage, which teaches you why organizational health trumps everything else. And then Peter F. Drucker is a legend in Wall Street and in any MBA school, and is very easy to understand how you can manage yourself and how can you manage other people. Again, management takes a lot of practice. Having said that, if you go and do all 6 things that we talked about and learn how to manage all 6 things, you can improve tremendously everything that we talked about. And I'll go back to the first slide to just remind you that these are the things you need to learn. You can do this. It's incredibly important to do it throughout your career, and to understand that in order to be a successful dentist, it's going to take several years of working on all of these things to get there. And anytime you stop, that's when your learning stops.